When did pedophilia become a partisan issue? The American people deserve to know the whole truth about Jeffrey Epstein and every single powerful person who enabled him. Every name, every flight log, every cover-up, all of it. The White House and congressional Republicans are hiding the Epstein files. Why? These are the same politicians who call librarians groomers, who call their political opponents pedophiles. And to be clear, if there is a Democrat on that list, I will be the first to call for their prosecution. Because if there's one thing we should all be able to agree on, Democrats and Republicans, conservatives and progressives, it's that no one, including the President of the United States, should be able to cover up crimes against children.
So that I should be thankful that someone like Donald Trump took my virginity. He basically didn't say took my virginity. He said, I should be glad that someone like Donald Trump popped my cherry and not some pimply little 14-year-old. And I just was like, what if I said, what if I get pregnant? Not even talking to him. I didn't want to talk to him. I was talking to Tiffany. And he said, well, you'll get an abortion then, bitch, and then just walked away. And I asked, I told Tiffany I needed to go home. I never went back again. I guess it's for you to decide, you know.
Some of the harshest criticism is actually coming from Trump's most fervent supporters. Even the QAnon shaman posted, fuck this stupid piece of shit, what a fraud. And once you've lost dipshit Daniel Boone here, you are in trouble. And it's understandable why Trump's struggling to get even his own base to take his word for it that there is nothing to see here, because to do so, you essentially have to believe everything we've learned about Trump over the years is irrelevant or sheer coincidence, that all Trump did was repeatedly host Epstein at Mar-a-Lago, have him at his wedding, hang out with him at Victoria's Secret fashion shows, get listed as a passenger on his plane 8 times, joke with him at a party while pointing out hot women and saying something into his ear that got the most grotesque smile in the history of human expressions. Tell a reporter, I've known Jeff for 15 years, terrific guy, he likes beautiful women as much as I do, and many of them are on the younger side, and allegedly hosts a calendar girl competition where, other than the 24 or so women flown in to provide the entertainment, the only guests were him and Jeffrey Epstein. You'd also have to forget about Trump bragging about his ability to grab women's genitals and claiming he could go backstage at his beauty pageants while women were getting dressed, something he was accused of doing by 5 Miss Teen USA contestants, and once remarking of his own infant daughter Tiffany that she's got Marla's legs. We don't know whether or not she's got this yet, but time will tell. Beyond that, though, there's nothing there. Except for a jury finding him liable for sexual abuse, but other than that, there's nothing to see. And I should note, Trump denies the Epstein letter, the Calendar Girls contest, and the claims of walking in on Miss Teen USA contestants changing. He also insists he broke off ties with Epstein before he was convicted of soliciting sex from a minor, and he's repeatedly denied being told his name was in the Epstein files, despite reports Pam Bondi told him months ago that his name was in there. And I guess, ideally, Trump would have Jeffrey Epstein on tape vehemently denying their connection. Unfortunately, what he's got instead is this moment in Epstein's 2010 deposition.
Have you ever socialized with Donald Trump in the presence of females under the age of 18?
Though I'd like to answer that question, at least today, I'm going to have to assert my 5th, 6th, and 14th Amendment rights, sir.
Yeah, not great. If the answer's no, just say that. Instead, Epstein started listing amendments like he was ordering off the value menu. I'll have the number 5, 6, 14, 10, 12, 3, and whichever else means I don't have to break bro code.
De pedófilos quiere acabar la democracia en Colombia. Duro, sí, pero ahí está la realidad. Y para que no salga la lista, entonces nos envían acorazados a matar pescadores de esta ciudad. Y amenazar al vecino, que si dictador o no, ¿cómo que el pueblo de Colombia va a aplaudir que invadan a su hermano, que no es el presidente, sino el pueblo de Venezuela? ¿Cuándo seríamos así de traidores y de vendidos, de que nuestra propia sangre la traicionamos, o el pueblo del Ecuador, o el pueblo de Panamá, o el pueblo de Venezuela no es nuestro propio pueblo? Y entonces quieren que el presidente haga lo que quería hacer Duque, cobarde, prestar las tierras de Colombia para que desde ahí se invadiera a un país hermano que tiene la misma historia que nosotros, porque allá nació Bolívar y vino a morir aquí, en esta ciudad. No se puede. Presidente de Colombia que haga eso, presidente maldito por las generaciones futuras, porque nunca será olvidado como un traidor. Y yo no pertenezco a los que querían matar a Bolívar. El gobierno de Venezuela ha hecho muchas críticas, pero no me burlo del pueblo de Venezuela, ni construyo una trampa para que caiga el pueblo de Venezuela en la trampa de una invasión que solo va por su petróleo. Que se quiere es codicia y violencia más para hacer de esta esquina hermosa del continente suramericano una Siria, un Irak, una Libia llena de esclavos, de venta de esclavos, de nuevo negros. No. La lista de los amigos de Stein, que no quiere que aparezca la lista en los Estados Unidos, nos quiere utilizar aquí con la violencia para que el pueblo de los Estados Unidos no piense en su propio gobierno, sino que se le suba la xenofobia, el racismo, las ideas de la raza superior y otras ideas falsas, y nos usan para no discutir sus propios problemas.
I think this was the single worst week for the president and his administration. I mean, not only is he going to get part of the blame, and we can discuss this in a bit, for the shutdown, he looked like he didn't care to a lot of people, whether they ate or not, or whether their insurance premiums go up. Prices, as I said in the monologue, are higher. You can Baghdad Bob your way out of that just so long. People know how much money they have and how much they're spending. It's the one thing you really can't lie about. Marjorie Taylor Greene, you know, a pretty big Trump fan. She was here a couple of weeks ago still, but she used the term gaslight. You can't gaslight people. I've heard the term Trump fatigue this week. And then on top of this, the Epstein thing, which was always, you know, these people got it in their heads a long time ago that there's a pedophile ring that runs the world and you can't get it out of their conspiracy-minded brains. Is it possible Trump is a lame duck at this moment?
Well, I think it is really interesting what's happening, because for so long it seemed as though there was nothing Trump could do that would affect his base, right? He famously said, I could shoot somebody on Fifth Avenue and I won't lose a vote.
Yeah.
And it looked like that was the case. It seems that there's at least not cracks, maybe the beginnings of some tremors.
It's been the problem away. The rising cost of living, the rising cost of groceries, the rising cost of the things people need for their families is our new reality. And it's been going on for long enough that everybody feels it. Millions of people every day, whether they're at the grocery store or at Walmart or paying their bills or paying for their health care. Just ask Marjorie Taylor Greene.
When the president says there's virtually no inflation and that grocery prices are going down, do you agree with him on that?
No, I go to the grocery store myself. Grocery prices remain high. Energy prices are high. My electricity bills are higher here in Washington, D.C. at my apartment, and they're also higher at my house in Rome, Georgia, higher than they were a year ago. So affordability is a problem. But when I go back home and I talk to many of my constituents, I'm hearing stories of not only are we having a really hard time affording groceries and rent and things like that, but I'm also hearing stories about people maxing out their credit cards just to afford their monthly expenses.
Marjorie Taylor Greene. Didn't have this on my bingo card, but she is one of the loudest and most prominent people in the MAGA world to now represent very publicly, she's in an interview there on CNN, a crack in that coalition. The facade of a unified Republican Party is a thing of the past, at least right now. There are cracks. And on the face of voter rage, which translated into devastating double-digit defeats for Republicans from coast to coast on Tuesday. Discontent is simmering inside the GOP against Trump and his very public and brazen displays, an agenda of gilding things with gold and taking bulldozers to the White House to do a multi-million-dollar renovation as Americans struggle to put food on the table.
It's named over 1,000 times just in this drop of documents. So I find it hard to believe that my Republican colleagues and the president could claim that this is some sort of misrepresentation when the American people have eyes and they can read for themselves what's in these documents. But I also want to note that Donald Trump was sent into such a tailspin that yesterday he called in for an emergency meeting, which apparently lasted for hours. The FBI director, Pam Bondi, Todd Blanche, and they brought in a member of Congress to the Situation Room to try to discuss what to do about this, the discharge petition, and still they have yet to comply with the subpoena. And so I think your other guest said it perfectly. If they have nothing to hide, then why are they engaged in such a clear cover-up?
And so this vote now, the Speaker says it'll be next week. Do you expect any of the Republicans on your oversight committee and in Congress to join that vote? Because they're sort of caught now between claims of transparency and the Trump panic that you just cited.
Yeah. I think it's more than just transparency. I mean, this is the largest potential sex trafficking criminal enterprise in American history. I mean, we're talking about potential criminal indictments that could come out of this investigation. So this is an active cover-up of crimes. I want to be clear about that. And the failure of the White House to comply with this subpoena is also a crime. But yeah, we expect Republicans are going to vote for this. I think the Speaker, now that he was defeated, is going to try to make it quick and get it over with so that the president can try to move on and pretend like nothing happened. But, you know, there was a great interview last night with Thomas Massie, who's been the Republican lead on this discharge petition. And what I appreciated about what he said is that he urged his Republican colleagues to do the right thing, because even though the president is offering so-called political cover to Republicans who vote with him to basically cover up a child sex trafficking ring, he's saying, Thomas Massie is saying to his colleagues, this will be on your record forever and on your conscience.
Right.
So
And I'm only jumping in.
I want to start first with this potential vote. You did not support the discharge petition. How are you planning to vote next week?
Yeah, I'm going to vote yes. I mean, I've said all along I'm for, total transparency here, consistent with protecting the victims. And so this is going to be coming for a yes up or down vote on the House floor next week, and I plan to vote yes.
It's time for the Trucker John Livestream. Gonna be a good time. Oh yeah. The Trucker John Livestream. Come along for a good time. It's a good time, good time, good time, good time. Trucker John Livestream. Gonna be a good time. Gonna be the time of your life. Gonna talk some shit. Hush your mouth. Gonna talk a little smack. Gonna talk whatever comes of it. You're gonna always wanna come back. Well, yeah, it's the Trucker John Livestream. He's the biggest, baddest, funniest mother you've ever seen. Watch your mouth, he's headed south. Not even sure what that means, but if it's one thing I know, the Trucker John Livestream is the best thing you've ever seen.
And now, ladies and gentlemen, the moment you've been waiting for. Trucker John.
All right.
I just crack myself up because I see myself like, licking my chops. I'm just finishing my last bite that I just had. Looks like we're on. Licking my chops. Yeah, there we go. Not licking my chops, but you know what I mean. I'm doing one of these like, is there anything on my teeth? As I just finished up my breakfast sandwich. Good morning, everybody. Yeah, my first cup of coffee. I'm just sorry I was late. I know I'm late. It's 11:36 a.m. Pacific time zone. We're currently, it says it's 70 degrees outside. Wow. And our high is only going to be 71, so we're already at the high almost. And low of 57. I looked out the window. I haven't stepped outside, but it looks like it's already raining. So the rain that California was getting, or it is getting, the front of that storm is up here now, and we're getting the early rain that you guys got yesterday. I have my Big Bear cam on right now. It looks very overcast and kind of drizzly up there in Big Bear, California. No snow though. They were saying the storm might bring 10 inches of snow to Big Bear. I don't really see any snow on the ground. Looks like it's just kind of, really dark and cloudy up there. I think they've just been getting rain so far. Anyhow, guys, thanks for being here. I appreciate you for coming on in and hanging out with me. Yeah, I got in really late. I went to work. I went to work kind of late, so that means that that makes the later I go to work, the later I get home. Because right now I'm relying on public transportation. Although I Ubered to work. I should have done it the other way around. I should have taken the bus to work and then Ubered home. That's usually what I do because I'm trying to save money, because an Uber ride there with the tip and everything is close to $30. So if I do that twice, then that's like $60. So, and that pretty much kills whatever tips I might have made. Anyhow, but since I was running late, I just went ahead and Ubered to work, and then I drove till about, I don't know. It wasn't really that real late. It was like I think about 1 or a little after 1 a.m. But then by the time I go in, drop off, I got to drop off money in the safe and all that shit. Check out, check out, and then walk to the bus stop. And then the bus was late. Not too late though, but I think about 20 minutes late. The bus was late last night. And that just sets, it's just this domino effect. So by the time I got home, it was like 3:30 in the morning. If you guys ever want to know why I hate public transportation, but actually, I mean, I don't mean to look a gift horse in the mouth. It's regardless, the bus is faster than walking. If I was walking home, I would still be walking right now, probably, if I had walked, because I don't even know how many miles it is, 15 miles or something, or more from here to work. So anyhow, I got in late, got to bed late. I woke up late. I'm a little groggy. I'm on my first cup of coffee. Good morning. Good morning to you. I appreciate you guys being here. Thanks for that. I did have Hal. I turned Hal. I didn't turn Hal's show on. It was until it was almost half over, because I woke up about 10 till 10 my time, and then I put Hal on. So I kind of had Hal playing in the background while I was looking for clips for the intro. So I didn't really hear a lot of what Hal was saying, as far as the content of the show and everything. But again, all my thoughts and prayers out to Hal and to his family and to his dad and everything, for what's going on with his dad. Anyhow, I'm not able to go back to the beginning of the chat. I think I saw Paul Burrows in there and some other folks, but now I'm just picking up in the chat where Nick Rich is doing like the Vulcan, whatever that salute that I can't do, and then some like, I guess puffing, the puff thing, and then a clock, and then a thumbs up. And then Mr. Spock right there says that's going to happen to CC. Chicken soup. Okay. Fancy's here. Hey, Fancy, good to see you. Thanks for coming on in. I appreciate you. Jolie's here. Jolie is saying yippee to Sandy Foltz. So I must have missed a super chat because I'm not able to scroll onto it, and it happened before the goal, so I don't see it on here. But yippee to Sandy Foltz. There you go. Thank you so much, Sandy. I wasn't able to see it, but I feel it. So thank you so much. I do appreciate that, the support of the show. It's always appreciated. Always appreciated. Never required, but always greatly appreciated. I think I'm trying to say that. MJ Daniels here. MJ says his last two wives, Ivana and Melania, were close friends with Maxwell and from Eastern Europe, backyard of the KGB. Yeah, they're honeypots. Trump is so gullible and malleable and easily influenced. Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if they're both just Russian assets. And certainly Melania was probably recruiting girls just like Ghislaine Maxwell was. Melania is probably just as evil and vile and guilty as Maxwell. Melania should be in a low security prison with a support animal of her own. You know. David Weiss from Denver's here. Hey, Dave, good to see you. Mozart is here, or Mozart. Oh, like Mozart. Like Mozart, the composer. Why do I always say Mozart? It's Mozart 2. Mozart 2 is here. Good to see you. DPD 5844 says it's too bad that the orange pedophile never met a Lorena Bobbitt in his lifetime. Although word on the street is that it would be very hard to locate the target. Jolie says, I just got my comment deleted by mods on Cliff's Edge. That's what popped up on mine. Did Hal send us to that? Because that popped up on mine too, Cliff's Edge, and then I changed it to the Big Bear Camp. I'd rather watch the fucking Big Bear Camp. No, I should not bash our own lefties. But at least the Big Bear Camp will not delete me. Look at that beautiful Big Bear Camp. So they deleted your comments. What did you say? Like, Hal Sparks is better or something? I don't know. Akoff Twitler, Bubba got serviced. I know. Now that thing is so funny. Is it funny? I'm like Lug Dragon now. Funny? I'm putting question marks in. Like, okay, so for those of you that don't know, there was another text or email, I guess it's email, that came out where I guess this was I think this was between the brothers, between Jeffrey Epstein and his brother, I think, or someone, whatever it was, and it said something like, "Did you see Trump giving a blowjob to Bubba or no, I think it just said blowing. I don't think it said blowjob to Bubba." And everyone is speculating that Bubba is Bill Clinton because that was his nickname. So if that's true, then Donald Trump, you got some splaining to do. You got some splaining to do. Because you don't really, you're not nice. You're not nice to the LGBTQ plus IA community, Mr. Trump. Otherwise, I wouldn't give a fuck. You could blow as many guys as you wanted to. I don't give a fuck. But don't be a hypocrite. I get the thing that amazes me the most about that, if this is true, or I don't know if that was like, I suppose the Trumps and whatever, they could just say, oh, that was just a joke, or the defenders of Trump, because Trump is just going to deny that they even exist or whatever. I guess these emails or whatever, he'll probably say it's totally fabricated. But the defenders of Trump will probably say that was just a joke. That's not what it was in reference to. It was just a stupid joke, locker room joke, or whatever. And but still, the thing that kind of amazes me is like, why would Bill Clinton let Trump suck his dick? I mean, that's the thing, because I just don't picture. But what do I know? What do we know about the true lives of these people behind closed doors? But I always think of as Bill Clinton, as being the horn dog for the poontang. But who knows? Maybe they're all fucked up and they're partying, and it's like, yeah, baby, suck away. I don't know. Who knows? Who the fuck knows, man? But I would love a reporter, like when he's on those airplane and he's sticking his head out the door and he's like, I would love a reporter to go, so did you give Bill Clinton a blowjob? Just ask him fucking point blank. I would love to see it. That might be, if you wanted to get rid of this guy, that might be what kills him over, permanently. If a reporter just said, hey, is it true that you gave Bill Clinton a blowjob? We saw this email in reference to that. I would love to see his response. Would he just blow up, either literally or figuratively, or what would he do? I would love to see that. So someone in the reporters, whatever that's called, grow a pair of balls, get real ballsy, have a little flask of something if you need it, little liquid courage, and just point blank ask Trump, did you give Bill Clinton a blowjob? That's what I want to know. Now, talking about LGBTQ plus, I just saw this. I didn't really hear much about it, but I just saw someone posted this meme, and I thought, since I'm living in the great state of Nevada, I would put this up. A little shout out to Nevada. Apparently, they are the first state in the nation to protect same-sex marriage in its constitution, in our state constitution, the Nevada state constitution. Well done, Nevada, as the meme says. So I thought I'd put that up there. A little shout out to Nevada. At least we can do some things right, even though we have a MAGA governor, who, by the way, I have no doubt whatsoever our MAGA governor will abandon Trump, faster than the Roadrunner in the cartoons. You know what I mean? You know what I mean? Once all this shit goes down. So let's see here. Where did I leave off in the chat? We got Fancy here. William is here. Hello, William. Hello, William. Anna Moore's here. Hello, TJ, she says. And Sparklers, enjoy your weekend. I will be working. I'm going to go to work tonight, and then tomorrow take it off for football day, because what you guys call Sunday, I call football day. Let's see. Adolf Twitler says, if MAGA is okay with Donald giving Bill Clinton a BJ, but not Monica, it says something. Yeah, it says that they're a bunch of fucking hypocrites. A bunch of lying fucking hypocrites. Mr. Spock, sell out Bill. Well, it's Fancy. He doesn't care. He don't care. Well, we'll see. I think he does care. If we're talking about, because sometimes I take these posts and they're mid-thread or whatever, but I think Trump does care about this shit. Otherwise, why would he be fighting so hard to bury them or not release them or whatever? David Weiss from Denver says, Jolie, spill the beans. I wonder about Cliff. Sometimes he has a bit of a new TYT vibe. I don't know. I think the only thing that bothers me about Cliff is just that he's a conversation hog and hardly lets anyone get words in edgewise, and then they just talk over each other. I find that frustrating. Anyhow, Jolie says, someone commented that he has 156,000 subs, but regularly only has 200 to 250 in his chat. Really? Sometimes I get that number. Okay, a couple times. We usually get 40 or 50 people in here, but I've had a couple times where I've hit those numbers. Anyhow, I simply suggested they check out his channel stats on Social Blade. That is very sus. Bloop gone, laughing my ass off. Yeah, he's got his mods are just as protective as you are, Jolie. I don't know the channels that you mod for. DPD 5844 says, "Fuck Bill Maher. Where has he been for the last 10 months?" I know Bill Maher. Hey, if Bill Maher has something that I think is interesting and and makes a good point about something, then I'll go ahead and post it. But yeah, I get you, man. Bill Maher is very frustrating. Said a lot of things that I think were very damaging to Democrats. So yeah, I get you. I get you, man. But I got to post something. Dave Weiss from Denver says, challenge Cliff with the maths. Jolie says, I mean, when you get where you get exactly 20,000 subs, that's because that's how many you bought that day. Yeah, not 20,123 or whatever. Nefarious enough is here. Hey, Nefarious, good to see you. It says affordability is a problem. Affordability is what we should be winning. Our Democrats should be winning elections on that topic, and they have been. DPD 5854 says, isn't MTG a millionaire? I believe she is now. Not like I don't think she's like a hugely multi-millionaire, but she's enough that of a millionaire that she should be able to afford everything without really any problem. But I do appreciate her, coming out with the issue, because she is talking. She uses herself as an example, but she's also, I think, reflecting what her constituents in her district are talking about too. So, but I think she's worth a few mil. I think her family was somewhat wealthy, and they owned some businesses, and she was able to get in on that. And then I think she probably became even richer during COVID when she was getting all these PPE loans, and that she's never had to pay back for. I think they were pretty huge loans, right? Next thing is she needs to write a book and make a few million off that. But you guys are like, what the fuck are you talking about? Don't be telling. We don't want one. We don't want no MTG book. I'm just saying. That's how Bernie Sanders made most of his money, was by writing a couple best-selling books, I think. Hey guys, get me into the House. I want to be a House rep. I want to be a House rep just like MTG, except not just like her. Get me in there, and I will write a book, and I will become a millionaire. How to become a millionaire in the United States? Win some little House district somewhere, and then write a book. Nefarious enough says the American people are dying. Yep. Mozart says, I hate to rush to judgment about anyone, but chat, I am really starting to think that Trump may be in the Epstein files. Yeah. You think? Yeah, it could be. Michelle's here. Hey, Michelle, good to see you. Michelle says, hey, all I have to admit, I am angry at the ballroom. I am too. I'm angry that he just fucking ripped out the East Wing, just basically with no authority, no from Congress or anything, just kind of did it himself on his own, and I'm totally angry about that. I'm totally, man, totally bummed out. David Weiss says, there are days I miss running channels on IRC. Hell, I used to run a dial-up BBS on the FidoNet. CompuServe was a mess, and here we are. David Weiss, you have successfully totally lost. Got me. I'm lost. I have no idea what you're talking about. Wes Webb's here. He's laughing out loud at Mozart. Yeah, because that was funny. Yeah, it's like I think I'm starting to think maybe Trump is in there. Wes Webb says the ballroom will be a tasteful compromise built after Dirty Donnie is gone. A tasteful compromise? I don't know how they're going to make it tasteful, but it's just ridiculous. I think they should. I don't know. What are they going to do? What are you going to do? Roxanne79's here. Hey, Roxanne, good to see you. Thanks for popping on in to the old driver's lounge. I do appreciate you. Nick Rich is here, 11:35. So I'm about 21 minutes behind. I'm 21 minutes behind you, Nick Rich. I'm 21 minutes behind. I'm 21 minutes behind you, Nick Rich. So beware. I don't know. And Moore says, in quotes, you can only fool some of the people some of the time. In quote, I guess Trump forgot that people can read. William says hello to Anna Moore. Anna Moore. Nick Rich, 48 degrees here at the moment. Nick Rich up in Toronto. No, where you at, Nick? You're up in Canada, eh? Somewhere in Canada? Montreal? Is he Montreal? No. Toronto? Edmonton. You sound like an Edmonton guy to me. Nick Rich, you are Canadian, right? You're one of our Canadian friends, aren't you, right? You and isn't Spock Canadian and Bigfoot? I mean Big Hood. Anyhow, love my Canadian viewers. You guys are awesome. Michelle says hello. Hello, Michelle. Good to see you. Thanks for being here. Thanks for checking on in. Christina and Sun Goes Squad. Always good to see Christina in the chat. Christina and Sun Goes Squad says, hi, everyone. Don't forget that thumbs up. That's right. We got 41 watching, only 38 thumbs ups. You know what that means, right? It means currently we are acting like sleazeballs, slimy, sleazy, no good for nothing, no good Republicans who always has the country operating at a deficit. We need to act more like good Democrats and let's get to at least a balanced budget, if not a surplus, in those thumbs up. So hit that thumbs up. Fancy says, I am happy to just have rain. Rain, go away. Yeah, I think we've got some rain. I can't really see because I have the slats on my the window thing. They're kind of, at an angle. But earlier when I got up, it looked as though the pavement was wet, and they don't have a sprinkler system out there, so because there's no grass, it's just like dirt and shit. But it looked wet. It looked a bit wet out there. Roxanne in Florida says it's 77 degrees today. No jacket needed, but was in the 30s the past few days. Wow. Yowza. Was it 30s? That wasn't the daytime high. That was your overnight low. But even that, drop it down to the 30s. That's pretty crazy for Florida. Wes Webb says tariffs have been removed from coffee and tea. There you go. Now I can buy more coffee. I do like this brand I've been buying. I always forget. Don Francisco. For being Keurig, because I've had, you guys know about the Keurig cups, and you're always like, well, do this way better, this way's better. And I know Christina knows the best way. But I'm easy peasy. I like the Keurig because I can just drop the cup in there and it makes the cup of coffee in like 2 minutes. But some of those coffee you get really isn't that great. But this Don Francisco's, it's sort of a medium roast. I really like it. I really like it. Christina Sun Ghost Squad says, laughing out loud. I guess we're just supposed to say lol. I always thought you were just supposed to say laughing out loud. But anyhow, you kids with the things. Christina Sun Ghost Squad says, Roxanne, there's all these places where I say, oh, I would like to live because the weather is better than New York. But then I think how they're all red states, and I say no. Well, California is not a red state. In California, I know it's expensive. Everyone says it's expensive. And if you and the parts that aren't expensive are shitty, like the desert where I grew up. So yeah, it is, but you're in New York. New York's not cheap either. But anyhow, California is beautiful. Just ask Fancy. Fancy will tell you. She lives in a beautiful part of California. I'm very envious of Fancy. But yeah, there's some blue states. Even Oregon, Washington, I think is beautiful. I think the whole West Coast I love dearly. That's about it. Everything else can just go to hell. Just kidding. Just kidding to all the other 47 states. But yeah. California, Oregon, Washington. I've always thought as Oregon being sort of like the great sort of a great sort of in between, like because Washington could get a little too rainy, California can get a little too droughty, and Oregon to me has always seemed like the great kind of like middle ground, and it's in the middle of those two states. Mozart says the trains are better than buses. We don't have trains here, sorry. It'd be nice if every town had a rail system. Many do in Europe. Trolleys, I mean. Now, we have a great little, whatchamacallit, it's an above ground thing, the Las Vegas tram or whatever it's called. And it's really cool, but it only goes, behind the strip for a couple miles. And that would be great if they had the whole fucking valley with those trams. That would be awesome. But still, it would still be like the buses, probably like being late and all that shit. But, I want a fucking bus that just is like right outside my front door and goes right to my fucking job. No stops, just a fucking express to my job. That's what I want. Oh, it's called a car. Oh yeah. Anyhow, I'll get one. I'm saving up, folks. I'm saving up. I'll be getting one. Don't you worry about that. Don't you worry about that. DPD 5844 says if we ever had to live in California, we would choose Big Bear. Hey, I've got the Big Bear thing. Because of the weather, and when it snows there, it's beautiful, almost like you never left the East Coast or Midwest. I actually lived in Big Bear for about a year, I guess, when I was a kid. We moved. I was about 8 or 9. We moved up there, and I loved it. I absolutely fucking loved it. And then we moved back to the fucking desert, and it wasn't because of anything financial. I don't think. I think it's because my mom, God rest her soul, I love my mom, but she was always never satisfied with where we were living, and living up on the mountain is kind of like living on an island where you get kind of island fever. They call it cabin fever, I guess. And because there's not as much stuff there as like down in the city or whatever. I don't know. I'm not really sure why we moved, but I loved it. And we just to show you how much we move, how fucking often we fucking moved. We lived there about a year, and we moved twice when we were in Big Bear. We had 2 different houses. We lived in 2 different houses while we were there. That's how we were always constantly fucking moving. That's why, as an adult, I hardly ever move. Although I have been moving a lot lately because of other circumstances. But most of the places as an adult that I've lived in and houses I've had and stuff, I lived there for a long time because I hate fucking moving. And as a kid, we were constantly moving. Like I said, sometimes 2 times in a year, 3 times in a year. I mean, it was ridiculous. And sometimes we were renting and stuff like that, but my dad would buy houses. He would kind of fix them up. It was kind of like a flipping thing, but instead of like just staying in your house and then buying another house and flipping it, we would actually move into the house that we were fixing up. The Big Bear houses weren't fixer-uppers, though. That was a whole different thing. So, yeah, I loved it. I absolutely loved it. And I think since my kids are up there now, that's where they live now, in the mountains up there. I'm going to make it I think I'm making it my goal to get up to Big Bear within the next couple of years. I think I'm going to try to find a place. And there are some small little, I've looked at some rentals. There are some small little cabins up there that aren't much more than what I'm paying now, actually. The only thing about it now is that my taxi job is my income, and up there, without that, I couldn't do it, because there's nothing really up there. I mean, there's for jobs for old 65 and 66 and 67 and 68-year-olds. I don't think there's any jobs up there that I could do that would pay my rent. So, but yeah, my goal is to get into a position financially where I can go up there within the next couple of years, I guess, because I love it up there. Jolie says, I'm usually going to sleep after sunrise. After sunrise. West Webb says, if I wake up too early, I try to pee and go back to bed. Mr. Spock says, if you need a folding e-bike, TJ, ride it to work and store it in the trunk. I was thinking about doing that. In fact, I saw a guy do that last night. I saw him come into work on an e-scooter. And then I went out. I got my car assigned to me. I'm out in my car. I'm getting it ready. And then I saw that guy rolling his e-bike. Because he was looking for his car. Because what they do is they give you this number. All the cabs are numbered, and then you got to go find it. And I didn't see him actually I didn't actually see him fold it up and put it in the trunk. But I just assumed that that's what he was going to do. And the only reason I've kind of, because I've thought about that. But the thing is, a lot of times we do get customers that have luggage going to the airport or coming from the airport, or sometimes people will change hotels and they've got a bunch of luggage. So my only concern is because sometimes they have a lot of luggage. It probably, in most cases, there would probably be room. Maybe 90% of the time, who knows? There might still be plenty of room for people's luggage. But sometimes there are some people that have a fucking ton of luggage. But I guess if that's the case, I would just we would figure something out. You know, I guess I could make it fit somehow. Put the scooter on top of their luggage or something. I don't know. But my main concern was like, what if there's a bunch of luggage? And how much is that going to affect that? But yeah, I saw a guy doing that last night. But I would really rather have an e-bike, and I think I could ride the e-bike and then just lock it up at work, somewhere around the area there. It's it's inside a fenced and secured area. I don't think any of my fellow coworkers would steal my e-bike. And all I have to do is take the battery off of it, right? And no one would take it. So I think I'd rather get the e-bike though than the scooter. But that is a thing I've been thinking about too. All right, let me skip down a little bit. I know I'm way far behind. Jeff Curry's here. Hey, Jeff, good to see you. Thanks for being here. I do appreciate you coming on in. Make sure you guys tell all your friends and family and even people that you hate to come in here and give me a thumbs up and subscribe and all that kind of stuff. Let's see. Jolie says, hi, Tom Bias. At 27 Tactical Orders Kill Course. So I guess I missed Tom coming in. Thank you for being here, though. I do appreciate you for coming on in. Thanks for coming on in. West Webb says, Melania was at one point trying to start a modeling agency. Yes, a modeling agency as a front for her trafficking agency. Probably. Yeah, Jeff Curry is here. I'm just skipping down in the chat room a little bit here. Mozart 2 says it's between the brothers gay. Sandy Foltz, you need to get yourself a car. I do. I really, really do. Fancy says they sure told me off. Wait, they sure told me off about it on Blue Sky? I'm mid-thread, Fancy, so I don't know what happened there on Blue Sky. Mr. Blue Sky. Nick Rich, did we have a similar conversation yesterday? Probably. I don't know what you're referring to, but probably. We do a lot of repeats here. Going in circles. Roxanne, blowing smoke or dick blowing? In reference to the email, which I believe was, I'm trying to think what it said. Did you see Trump blowing Bubba? I don't really know how that could really be anything other than a blowjob. I mean, because like you could blow off someone, which would be like ignore, right? You could, but he didn't say blow off. He said blowing. I don't think anyone like literally blows. Like, remember the old Chevy Chase joke? Like, he's like, yeah, that's not. It's just a figure of speech, or whatever. Remember, he's like he's pretending he's on a phone talking to his girlfriend or something. An old SNL. You guys remember that? And apparently, the conversation was about a blowjob, I think. And then it was funny. They had to be there. Go look it up. I'm sure you can Google it. But I don't know. How do we take that any other way? Like blowing smoke. Then why didn't he say blowing smoke, or why did he say blowing off, or blowing up? I don't know. Because when you're blowing somebody, you're blowing somebody. So I don't know. DVD 5844 says, did anyone see Rep. Stacey Plaskett from the Virgin Islands? A Democrat was texting Epstein during Cohen's congressional hearing on February 27th, 2019 at 11:28 a.m. She also has taken money from him. Thoughts? I didn't see that. Wait, so this was a representative from the Virgin Islands. So she was the Democrat that was texting Epstein during Cohen's congressional hearing? I've never heard of that before. I don't think I've heard that. So, yeah, if anyone has any thoughts on that, let us know your thoughts, because I don't think I heard that. Nick Rich 1145. So by my math, let's see, 15, and then 25. I think I'm 28 minutes. I'm 28 minutes behind you, Nick Rich. I'm 28 minutes behind. 28 minutes behind you, Nick Rich. I'm 28 minutes behind. Mozart says Clinton will take a blowy wherever he can get one. I don't know. I guess if that's true, then I guess so. If that email is true. But, I mean, if they're going to this place where there's all these females around, I'm just going to say females because girls are not women. But I have a feeling there was a mix of women and girls at these Epstein Island things. And I don't even know where that took place with the blowjob thing. But I'm just picturing if they were at some place where blowjobs are taking place, that they're probably at some Epstein party or some kind of party or something where there's lots of females around. I'm just going to say females because that covers both the girls and the women. And that he would have had ample opportunity to get one from one of them. But, like I said, maybe if you're fucked up enough on something and you're just like, you don't give a fuck. You just, I don't know. Who knows? Someone should ask Bill Clinton about it too. Like I said, I wish a reporter would just ask Trump point blank, did you ever give Bill Clinton a blowjob? Someone should ask Bill Clinton, did Donald Trump ever give you a blowjob? Just it is kind of a sad commentary on where we are in our country and our politics, and that we have to ask our politicians, our former presidents and presidents, about blowjobs and who gave who, what, where, when, instead of actually working on actual problems like getting people their health insurance and food and jobs and everything, but that's where we're at. That's where we're at, folks. Jolie says, is this channel becoming the BJ channel? Well, I think America is becoming the BJ country. Like I just said, it's sad that it's a sad state of affairs, Sunny Folds, TJ, do you like English muffins? I do like English muffins. I do. I really, really do. I do. I like all the nooks and crannies of the Thomas's English muffin. Christina Weibel says I think lunged, or I could see him lounging with her, but no, he lunged at a female reporter. But was she asking about the blowjob? I don't know. 27 Tacticus Kilgore, otherwise known as Tom Bias, says Epstein brother was digging at Bannon. I did see a Bannon one. Yeah. I do remember a one with Bannon in it, but I forget what they said. Mr. Spock, yada, 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 would have been funnier. I'm not sure what that's a reference to. Jolie's saying, take me to church. I like that song. That's a good song. Anamore says, go Nevada. Yes, this is my new home state, I guess, because this is where I live. For almost 6 years now, I've been here. 6 glorious, wonderful years. Fancy says, go Chargers. All righty. I'm not opposed to that. I root for the Chargers every now and then. As long as it has nothing to do with repercussions about the Rams, I'll root for those Chargers and their powder blues. Roxanne says, yeah, I keep forgetting Sunday is football. I do get reminded by my man. To me, it's Boston Brian Day. I'll withhold comment on that. Sandy Folt says, Paranoia Hobbit had cut her husband. Oh, that was Bobbitt, right? Had cut her husband's dick off. Her husband, John Bobbitt, lived in Niagara Falls. Oh, he's from your home area there. Wow. So you're familiar with the story. Of course, that was a huge story when that happened. I remember that. I remember when I first heard about that story. I think me and probably every guy in the country, when we heard about Christina Bobbitt, was it Christina, right? Yeah, Christina Bobbitt, whatever her name was. Or maybe it's Lorena Bobbitt. Was it Lorena? Whatever her name. Well, let me look back. Did you put it down there? No. I think it's Lorena Bobbitt. When the story came out that she had cut her husband's penis off. I think here's what every man in America did. Now my hands are going down to my crotch right now. But look at my face. This is what every man in America did. That's what every man in America did when you heard the story. It was like, oh my God, no. And also, a lot of men started sleeping with one eye open, or with a chastity belt, or whatever. I don't know, man. That was a horrifying story for many men. Now, there's more to that story than that, but I'm just telling you. Wayne Goen says DOJ will investigate for the next 5 years and announce nothing to be found. I get the pessimism, because we've been hearing for years and years and years all this shit. This is going to happen. That's going to happen. And then we have, fucking milquetoast like Merrick Garland and, and all the bullshit. So I get the pessimism. I really do. But still, we trudge on. We trudge on. We trudge forward. Nick Rich, enough of a millionaire. I guess talking about what's her face, MTG. Yeah, she certainly is wealthy enough that I think she can afford all of her bills and stuff. But I do appreciate her. I do appreciate what she's been saying about affordability and how the costs of insurance premiums and groceries and energy, like her electric bill, that those are going up and it's affecting her constituents. I appreciate her saying that. I'm not going to vote for her. If I lived in her district, I would have voted for the people that have been running against her these last few terms. But nevertheless, I do appreciate what she's saying. You know, Sandy Foltz says, "Go Bills." Nick Rich tearing down the East Wing was an emergency, right? Oh yeah, had to do it. Had to do it. It's an emergency. Yeah, there's Jeff Curry in the chat room. I see, and I do see that we are. Thank you very much, folks. We are now operating like really good Democrats. We got 44 watching and 46 thumbs ups. That means we are at a surplus, just like the good Democrats I know we can all be. Jeff Curry says, "Turn the ballroom into an indoor go-kart track. That would be fun." I would want to be president, so I would just be on that all day. I would be like, "You guys handle the country without me." You know, my VP in the Senate and in the House. I'm gonna be racing. Who would I be racing though? I would be inviting all of you guys, all my trucklers, and we could just race go-karts all day on the taxpayer dime. It would still be cheaper than all the golfing trips that Trump takes, because we wouldn't have to do all the logistics of all the fucking Secret Service and the transportation, the cost and fuel. It'd be right there in the White House, and I would just be racing to my little heart's content. Just think of the cost savings if I were president right now. Mozart's in quotations here. You can fool some of the people some of the time, and that is almost always enough. In quotes. I don't know who that's attributed to. Was that Ben Franklin? Nick Rich. Whoops! God dang it! I hate when things go awry. I hate when things go awry. When God forbid I should touch something the wrong way, and then everything disappears. I was just about to read where Nick Rich says he's from Toronto, and then I guess I touched the thing. I guess I swiped to the left instead of swiping down, and now the whole damn thing freaking disappeared, and now I'm trying to get back to it. It's really pissing me off. Because God forbid I should miss some chats. Everyone's saying happy birthday to Michael Andrews, but then Michael says it's not my birthday. But, probably nice to hear that anyhow. Okay, I think I'm back to where I left off. Technology sometimes is not my friend. Joel, I just checked my calendar. Michael is right. His birthday was September 19th. Like, people don't believe him, I guess. I guess Nick is from Toronto. So there you go. Oh yeah, there it is. There I am. Torontonian. Nick Rich from Toronto. Mr. Spock, I'm from New Spockland. Okay. There you go. The Spocklandian. Mr. Spock is a Spocklandian. DPD 5844 says, now little Marco wants to ban and withhold visas from obese individuals and anyone with heart disease and cancer. What the fuck? What happens if other countries adopt this policy pertaining to Americans? I don't get it. He wants to withhold visas from obese individuals and anyone with heart disease? Wow, talk about Mark. I thought Marco was supposed to be the reasonable one in the room. What the hell's going on with that motherfucker? I guess he's like, I'm gonna try to be. I need to be nuttier. I need to be, to keep up with these maggots. I need to be nuttier. What can I do? Trump's been ignoring me, so I'm gonna come up with this one. He's gonna love this. He's gonna love it. West Webb Rockford is reasonable. Nick Rich, 12 noon in Vegas, so I'm 26 minutes behind you, Big Nick. I just called you Big Nick, which is probably fine. Nick Rich, where am I at? Yeah, Nick Rich, 26 minutes behind. Mr. Spock says New Spockland is an independent hermit nation within Canada, population 1. Main exports are weed, chickens, and eggs. Tax-free status. There you go. Sounds lovely. Sounds lovely. Wow, it's fancy. Says, I've been in my apartment over 10 years, and it's half the price of apartments today. So you're locked in. That's good. I think you're locked in. I don't know. But, yeah, man, prices, I'm sure, just go up and up and up. Up and up and up. Hey, Brooklyn SJU is here, otherwise known as Trixie LaRue. Says she said, "Can you take they both ways?" Too. That's the issue. That's the thing, Brooklyn. Since I moved here, when I was at the other place, the previous place, it was beautiful, and because see, when you use the they thing, there's a little map, and it has of the area, and it has the places that you can pick up the car, and the places that you can drop off the car, and they're in these shaded areas. And when I first started using Vay, I could pick up or have a car delivered. If you're not in a place where they can deliver it to you, then you can walk to the place. But like now, I'm way out on the edge of town now. So, but anyhow, I was in a place where they would just deliver the car to me, and my work, where I work, was in one of those shaded areas, so I could just drive right straight to work. It was beautiful. It was absolutely beautiful. I loved it. It was perfect because it would cost anywhere like $5 or $6 to use the car, which is so much cheaper than Uber and much more convenient than the bus. The bus is still the cheapest way to go, but it's a fucking hassle. It's a pain in the ass. But then I think, and I have no facts to back this up, but I think that the management and ownership of the taxi cab company, because they saw the cars, because I wasn't the only one using them. There was like at least 2 other people that were using those cars. That's how I found out about it, because I saw the Vay cars at where I was working, and on the side it has Vay, and it has the the .com or the thing, and I think that they got pissed off and started complaining about them parking the cars there. So what they did in their infinite wisdom from Vay, they just moved the little shaded area just over a little tiny bit on the map. So it looks like it's still right next to where I work, but what they don't realize or don't care about is that in that little shaded spot that they moved it over to, and where my job is, but between there is a big fucking drain, like a drainage ditch. It's a big empty field of desert, and then there's this big, whatever you call it, a water thing where water goes through, and it's with fences on each side of it. It's chain link fences, so you can't just walk over. It's a very relatively short walk, quarter of a mile at the most. But you can't do that. So you gotta do this whole big long roundabout thing. And I've done it, and it takes about, so it's about a 20 to 30 minute walk at the pace that I go, because I'm old and slow. I don't walk as fast as I used to. So it's a 20 to 30 minute walk to get there. And I did do that a couple of times in the summer, just to try it out. And it's very hot. It's just, when it's 115 degrees out, you don't want to be walking a half an hour out in 115 degree heat. Now it's cooler, so I could do it now, but I haven't tried it out. I haven't done that yet, but I probably will. I might do that today. I might do it because now what I have to do. So I can't get. So since I moved out here to the boondocks, they won't deliver a VACAR to me. I'm way, way, way out of the shaded area. The closest shaded area on that map is about, I think, 4 miles or so to my west, up Tropicana Avenue, about 4 miles or 5 miles. And I did it the other day, to try it out. It's a little clunky, but I could hop on the bus here, take it down there to the shaded area, get the VACAR, and then drive that to that place that's 20 minute walk away from work. I could do that, but it's still clunky. It's cheaper than Ubering, and it is still faster, even with that 20 to 30 minute walk. That still would get me to work sooner than just taking the bus, because the bus, and it's not because buses are slow, it's because of all the stops. There's like the total number of stops, probably with the two transfers, and then there's a wait between transfers. You got to go walk to the next bus stop, wait another 10 or 15 minutes for the next bus to come. So there's that wait time. Plus, like from where I live up to Decatur Avenue, it's something like 35 stops. And then I get on the bus at Decatur and take it, and that goes about a block away from where the bus stop is, like a short walk, probably a less than 10 minute walk from that bus stop. But that has, I think there's like 12 stops. So there's all these stops, and that's what makes it so long. So that's why what is a 20 minute drive in a car is a 2-hour bus trip. So that's the thing about VAY. And I keep, every opportunity that I have, I tell VAY I would use them more often if they could get their put where I live, in a shaded area, an area that I can have the car delivered to, or at least get it closer. I mean, I don't know why they can't. I don't know. But so that's the thing. That's the VAY. The thing about VAY. Christina Sun Go Squad, I hate the snow and cold. Why would I rather not live in New York? Definitely not going to somewhere in California where it's called, where it's cold. Where it's cold? Well, you said cold, but you don't want to go where it's cold. There are plenty of places where it's not cold. If you want nice, moderate year-round temperature, go down San Diego way, where Robert Perez is. San Diego has, I think, the most perfect weather year-round in the entire country, or at least the lower 48. But Trazi 1920 says, Big Bear is beautiful. I spent lots of time in Crestline when I lived in Colton. Yeah. I'm very familiar with Crestline. Yeah, it's nice. Hey, look at there, Brooklyn SJU with a $2 super chat. Thank you so much, Brooklyn. Yippee! Thank you so much. There's a thumbs up for you. There's the heart. And Brooklyn says that we are at full mod capacity. I do see Jolie and Aaron. Apparently, Aaron was taking a shower and is now out of the shower and squeaky clean, so that we are at full mod capacity. Thank you, Brooklyn, for bringing that to my attention, and thank you for the $2 super chat. Never required, but always greatly appreciated when anyone can help you support the show that way. So I appreciate you. Thank you so much. Christina Sunco Squad says, if you have an e-scooter, you could probably fold that and put it in the front seat. Well, people sit in the front seat a lot of times. So then I got to, I can't spend the time like, oh, wait a minute, and then, go back to the back or whatever. People sit in the front. I guess I know maybe in New York people don't sit in the front seat, huh? Because I know I've seen a lot of movies about taxi cabs in New York, and everyone always sits in the back seat. Only. But here in Vegas, people will sit in the front seat, especially if there's 4 people, three in the back and 1 in the front. But I've had sometimes where a guy will be by himself and go, "Can I sit in front?" And I'm like, "Yeah, sure." So yeah, I can't put it in the front seat. Mr. Spock, save a lot of time and money with an e-bike. Yeah, I'm definitely thinking about that, Mr. Spock. Michael McAndrews with a $10 super chat. Yippee! Thank you so much, Michael McAndrews. I appreciate you. Give you that thumbs up and a heart also on there, if the thing would please click. And Michael says, can't wait to tear down the Epstein ballroom. Wait a minute, I want the indoor cart thing. But thank you, Michael. Never required, but always greatly appreciated to get that super chat. So thank you so much. I appreciate you. And happy birthday, by the way. I know it's not your birthday. It's not your birthday. The Beatles should have done like a follow-up song. It'd be like, it's not your birthday. I heard it's not your birthday. It's really not your birthday. So everyone, please stop saying happy birthday. Jolie says, yep, we're officially the BJ channel now. Well, I don't know. It's just, it's the topic of the day. When you've got emails coming out about the current president blowing a former president, I think it's going to be a major topic, I guess. MJ Daniel says, I miss having real seasons on the west side of the state. We got real fall and winter in eastern Washington. Yeah, I know our weather is all screwy and changing and everything. DPD5844 says TJ electric bikes cost around $140 for the affordable ones, all the way up to $300 and $1,300. I could do more research for you. Yeah, I've been looking at them and I've seen them all. I really prefer a bike, and most of the ones that I've seen that look like they would be sturdy and could hold 300 pounds, because believe it or not, your boy here weighs 300 pounds. And, they're usually around $1,500 for a good one, but anywhere from 800 on up for those. Jill Bratton says, really American did a really funny reel of memes called Donita Lewinsky. Watching the dude giggling like a schoolgirl added to it. I have not seen that. Michael McAndrews says, one of my e-bikes, I think, costs, unless it's for your cats, no, $2,000. The last e-bike I bought cost $1,000. Wes Webb says, Bubba is used as another name for brother. Also, maybe Trump was blowing Epstein himself. Well, Jeffrey Epstein is no longer with us, as far as we know. But his brother, the guy who is still with us, let's depose his ass. Let's depose his fucking ass and ask him. He should know, right? Were you referring to Bill Clinton? Were you referring to yourself? Where, you know, or whatever. Mr. Spot, Bubba Gum or Gump was probably around that time. You guys just have a dirty mind. So maybe he was blowing Tom Hanks. Maybe Trump was blowing Tom Hanks. I can't see that either. Now, as far as I know, Tom Hanks is not on any Epstein list or flight logs. I don't believe. But I don't even know where that supposed blowing took place. So I don't know. Let's see. DBD 5844 says yes. TJ Epstein owned everyone. Maybe on the island, on the Virgin Islands, he was paying off everyone. That's one of the reasons why he traveled there so often. All of them knew, and no one said a word. Pathetic. Well, that needs to all come out too, huh? Wes Webb says Clinton was on the plane, but not on the island. He has lived his life so much in public that he couldn't sneak off to the tropics. So Trump blew him on the plane, is what you're saying. David Windler, if your guiding star of life is sex, you're a Republican. Wes Webb, remember the Appalachian Trail guy? I do. Didn't he say he was hiking the Appalachian Trail but he was really with his mistress in like Argentina or some shit? Something like that? A little something like that. It was a little something like that. I am mid-thread. I don't know. Oh, about the penis. Petrazi says she threw it out the car window. Oh, yeah. So we're back on. So it's between blowjobs and getting your penis cut off is what we're talking about today. Michael McDaniels, I would hate to be bobbitized. Me too. Hey, I see Karen names here, Lady Shaka. We still have leaves falling off our two big fruitless mulberry trees. Now it's raining. It's raining. Raining. It's raining. Jill Bratton says lots of people pointing out Epstein files with Russia ties to include money laundering as a national security implications. Absolutely. It makes us compromise. We have lots of compromised people. We have a compromised president. He's compromised. I'm telling you. Elizabeth Martinez is here. Hey, Elizabeth, good to see you. She says, buenas tardes. John, hola to all. Buenas tardes. Yeah, we are in the afternoon. Sonny Folks, can you talk about something else besides blowjobs? We will get there. I'm kind of just, I bounce off of you guys in the chat. Although I did kind of start with the subject of the email, I guess. But Wes Webb says Democrats eat the young and they're old. Instead of crucifying Uncle Chuck, they should celebrate him. I'm not sure about celebrating him, but I am against crucifying him. If you've been watching my show, I've been sticking up for Uncle Chuck, to an extent. I don't believe that he deserves all the criticism that he gets, but he does deserve some criticism. That's for sure. And I would love nothing more than for him to retire after this term and AOC just run for that seat instead of her having to primary him. It's like, Chuck, it's time. It's time. It's time. Don't fight it, bro. Don't fight it. Why do you want to be in the Senate like well into your fucking 80s and shit? Just, it's time, bro. Finish out your term, clean out your office, and let AOC take it over. That's my opinion. I'm sticking to it. Christina and Son Ghost Squad says, I don't know why instead of paving over the Rose Garden, he didn't just make a miniature golf course and stay in the White House. Yeah. No, Christina, because he's a big golfer. Yeah, he needs the big course because he's a big golfer. He's a big boy golfer. Miniature golf is for little boys. Trump makes big poopy. He makes big poopy, so he's a big boy. Don't you know? Donnie's a big boy, so he can go on the big golf course because he makes big poo-poos. He's so proud of himself. He's so proud, or he's so proud of himself. He makes big poo-poo, big poopies. Now I've kind of skipped down. It seems like I'm mid-thread on a lot of things. It's kind of hard to just dive into a mid-thread conversation. David Windler, you can buy an unregistered old car for $200 and drive it for years before the cops pull you over. That won't work for me because the cops will pull me over on day one. That's just my luck. And I don't even know where you would find an unregistered old car. It's like people talking about, go get some shrooms. I don't even know where I would get shrooms. How am I going to know where to buy an unregistered car for $200? Anyhow, but I know. Thanks for this suggestion. Wes Webb says Johnny doesn't like it when we talk about universal medical care for people who don't take care of themselves. Should the government have a say in your diet? First of all, to say that I don't like something that I don't think we've even ever talked about this subject before. So that's quite presumptuous of you, Wes Webb. I think the government should be providing health care to all of its citizens. And I think a part of health care is preventative health care. And if we had a good health care system, we would also have a good preventative health care system. And I think it's people on the right, probably like you, Wes Webb, that when Michelle Obama was the first lady and one of her little projects was about healthy eating and about putting total calories on menus. How fucking much did Fox News and all of the fucking talking heads like Bill O'Reilly and Sean Hannity, their fucking heads fucking exploded when Michelle Obama put calories on the menus? So get out of here with your bullshit, Wes Webb. If you're gonna be disingenuous like that. All right? Wes Webb, I think we talked about it before, Mr. Spock. I buy worms and add compost with cow manure, and so I'm in thread. I don't really give a fuck about your worms, dude. They're probably in your brain by now. I believe I've addressed Wes Webb's ridiculous comment enough. These follow-up comments that he has are ridiculous. I think I pretty well kicked his ass on that one. Point to Trucker John. Wes Webb, 0. Because he's a big 0. And for some reason, my screen just kind of dimmed a little bit. For some no good reason. My screen on the iPad just sort of dimmed a little bit. Wes Webb just comes in. He just wants to stir things up. Like, little people can get killed by airbags in the front seat. Yeah, and little people can also get killed if there are no airbags. I would submit to you that probably by a factor of 100, like 100 to 1, or maybe 1,000 or thousands to 1. Little people will get killed without airbags much more frequently than with the airbags. It's the same argument with the people try to say about seatbelts. And they'll cite the same case over and over again about a guy who had hit a tree or something, and he was belted in, and he couldn't get out, and he burned to death or something, which was awful. But I'm sure seatbelts have saved innumerably more lives than they've cost. And I think we could say the same thing about airbags. So once again, Trucker John 2 points, Wes Webb 0 points, because Wes Webb is a fucking zero. David Windler, did Hunter go to Underage Island? I don't know. I haven't seen Hunter Biden's name on mentioned. I don't think so. Brooklyn, I'll stop now. I know. I just saw Brooklyn's a mushroom penis is harder to chop off, and then but I didn't read it. I wasn't going to read it, but then Brooklyn says I'll stop now. So then then I backed up. But I don't know what I'm doing. I don't know. But yeah, maybe we should stop now. Nick Rich says 12:45. Boy, it's been an hour since I think I read the last one, and now. But look at it, 12:45. I'm only 6 minutes behind because I maybe I skipped too much. I may have skipped too much too soon. I may have skipped down a little too much, but now I'm 6 minutes behind. Brooklyn SJU says Dianne Feinstein didn't know where she was, but these people never think they are too old to serve. Well, I think with Dianne, I think she kind of, I think that was kind of a more sudden kind of, at least what do I know? Like I said, we don't really know the personal lives, but so much. But it seems like Diane's slippage of her mental capacity, that seemed to be kind of at least as I remember it, a little more sudden, kind of a sudden thing. And I think they were she was just trying to hang on just to finish her term out or something, or her people were trying to keep her in there. But I think that was kind of a sudden, a little more sudden than that. But I don't know. I could be wrong, but she did pretty much get out of there. I think she didn't hang on. I don't think she, like, in other words, like when she ran for that last term, I don't think she was. I think she probably felt okay, or she probably felt good. She probably felt healthy. I think. I don't know. I guess we could look into it instead of me just pulling shit out of my ass. But I think her I don't know if she had dementia. I don't know what it was. I don't. But her cognitive abilities, I think, was kind of a lot more sudden thing. So I don't. So it wasn't like, I don't think she maybe was hanging on when she shouldn't have. But I don't know. Wes Webb, AOC doesn't have the NYC Hebrew ties. They are the ones with the money. That's true, but AOC, I think, could overcome that. I think she's popular enough. She takes no AIPAC money, and I think maybe that's who you're talking about. She takes small donors. She doesn't do any of that big corporate donor stuff, and yet she's very popular. She's in the House. She's been winning the House. How many terms now? What, at least 3 now? But that's a good point. Maybe Wes Webb maybe gets a half a point. So Trucker John, what am I? I'm up to 2. Wes Webb's up to half a point. But I think, I guess we'll find out. Maybe, hopefully, I hope we find out. I really hope, and this is one thing that we as, even if we're not living in New York, we still are American citizens, and senators do affect, their decisions can affect the whole country, not just the state that they're from. So I think that we all have a right as U.S. citizens to contact Chuck Schumer and tell him we think he should retire after the end of this. Thank him for his service. Thank him for his time in the Senate. But it's time for him to move on. I think we should do that. You know, that who knows? That might be enough for him to go, you know, maybe I should retire. Maybe I should enjoy what decent years I have left in my life to go do some other things. Not that they don't do a lot of, you know, the Senate and the House, they take so much goddamn time off. And these guys are all worth at least, you know, several $1 million. So it's not like he's been, you know, at the grindstone for 40 years. You know, I'm sure he's gone on very nice trips and vacations and has lived a very nice life. But I don't know, maybe we should start inundating his office with phone calls and postcards saying, hey, Chuck, and do it politely. We don't have to say, hey, you're an asshole, you caved, or even though he didn't vote on it, but he negotiated the cave and all that kind of shit and blah, blah, blah. Just say, hey, thank you so much for your service in serving the American people as a senator for all this time. Thank you so much. But we think it's time that you make way for the younger generations, and we would really appreciate it if you would retire, or words to that effect. You know, you don't have to. You know, look, you'll catch more. Is it flies or bees with honey than you do with shit? Because I don't think bees are attracted to shit, but flies seem to be attracted to shit. But I think flies are also attracted to honey. So maybe it's flies. You'll catch more flies with honey than you will with shit. Anyhow, you get the gist. You get the gist of it. DPD 5844 says every American citizen should be afforded the same health care that every senator, Supreme Court justice, and congressional member has, period. If the taxpayers can pay for theirs, they can pay for us. I think it should all be free. And then West Webb go, it's not free. It's paid for with your taxes. Right. I shouldn't have to double pay. It's paid for through our taxes, so we should just get. I think we should get health care. When they say Medicare for all, I think the Medicare should be 100% covered. Cover everything 100%. Write your senators and your House reps about that too. We can start our own little influence campaigns. It's called writing and calling your representatives, your elected representatives, and that includes senators and House reps and even your state levels, everything. We can get our own little information or influence campaign going. Nick Rich, the heated talk is fun sometimes. Jolie, reminding everyone that we have channel memberships, and I like to always remind you guys we have them for as low as $1.99 a month. So cheap. I am a cheap date. And we have you can also support the show greatly and so much by liking, subscribing, and sharing the show. We're almost at 4,200 subscribers. It just seems like yesterday that we got the big 4,000. And we had all the hullabaloo about the 4,000. Now we're almost at 4,200, folks. So let's keep subscribing and get everyone else in the world to subscribe. But thank you, Jolie, for posting that. And also you can support the show with the Buy Me a Coffee link, and also down further there's the PayPal link, and you can support the show that way. Always never required, but always greatly, greatly appreciated if anyone supports with donations like that. I'm going to turn the AC on. It's getting hot in here. Isn't that funny? We're talking about weather and shit. It's only, according to this, it's only 67 degrees outside. And If I kept my window open, it would probably be nice in here, but I don't like having the window open when I do the show. So I'm gonna turn the AC on for just a bit. Jolie says we definitely need term limits for Congress. Look at Mitch, the glitch. It's ridiculous. It's why everything takes forever to change here. We need new people sooner. And I understand the arguments for term limits. I've always been against them because I think the people should vote. If you want to term someone out or get someone out, you should vote them out. But unfortunately, we got a lot of stupid people in this world, in this country, that keep voting for dumbasses like Mitch only because he has an R next to his name. And I attribute that a lot to propaganda, huge propaganda machines of Fox News, and we've talked about that, big radio networks like that had Rush Limbaugh on radio markets all across the country 24/7 with these blowtorches of hate and really brainwashing people. So I guess the way to fight that is with term limits. But I've always been against term limits. Ideally, because I've always felt like let the people decide. If they're tired, if they think someone is too old, then they should vote for someone else. But but I do completely understand the argument for term limits. Wes Webb says the reason they stay is that they control the purse strings, have the most donors, Aunt Nancy and Uncle Chuck. But who gives a fuck? Why would they give a fuck about controlling the purse strings after being in for 40 or 50 years and being old as fuck? Why, at some point, what, you think you're going to live forever? Why the fuck do you care? If you're in your 80s, it's time to go. It's time to get out. Who cares? Why do you give a fuck about controlling the purse strings at that point? It's stupid. It's just fucking stupid. Nancy's finally getting out. Finally. Chuck should follow suit. Lady Jaka Karen Ames says if we have to retire we don't have to retire, but yeah. It says if we have to retire by 67, then they should too. Term limits for SCOTUS. And I hear all the arguments for it, and if it did happen, I wouldn't be there would be other things to be sadder about. I wouldn't be sad about it, but I am kind of not for it, just because of what I already said. Wes Webb says, laughing out loud, Jolie, the slowness of the Senate is one of the best things about it. I understand all that talk about incrementalism and about not going too fast because of, there are unintended consequences, and maybe going slower, you could mitigate some of those, have time to think about things, think clearly about these things. But then there's also moving at a snail's pace, or even going backwards in a lot of cases, which I think is what we've had a real big problem with. And all this pendulum back and forth between Republican and Democrat, that's got to stop. Like I said, we need a good 50-year run of just Democratic rule in this country just to get us back on track. It's to undo the last 45 years of Republicans, starting with Reagan all the way up to Trump. We need to undo most of their bullshit. So I think we're going to have to speed things up a little bit just to make up for lost time. But it's one thing to be kind of slow and deliberate and, not rushing into something. There's a difference between that and just crawling at a snail's pace, which is frustrating as fuck, especially when we, the Democrats, or whatever, or maybe your party too, are in power. And then we could only get one thing done. We get health care done under Obama. Seems like that was mainly the only thing we got done. And that was in the first 60 days. or whatever it was, and then nothing. Then Republicans come in, and then they do everything in their power to undo the thing that we did. The one fucking thing that we did. The Republicans get in there and do everything that they can to sabotage it and fuck it up. So we can't. We do need to speed things up. I understand incrementalism. I understand slow and deliberate and thoughtful. But we've had too many decades, too many Republican administrations and Republican Congresses that have just sabotaged everything and set us back behind the rest of the world in a lot of ways. So we can't afford all this snail's pace bullshit. Yeah, Brooklyn says Amy Schumer is his cousin. I knew that. I did know that. Christina son, you catch more bees with honey than you do with shit. Right? That's the second part. Because well, anyhow. Wes Webb, thank you. Happy Truckiversary. Happy Truckiversary. Happy Truckiversary. Happy Truckiversary to Wes Webb. Wes Webb says it's getting hot in here, so you know what to do. It's getting hot in here, so y'all know what to do. Thank you, Wes Webb. It's been a glorious 19 months. One of our OGs, by the way. I give Wes Webb a lot of shit. So thank you so much for continuing on being a driver at the driver level. You can upgrade that, by the way. But thank you so much, Wes Webb. Remember, for 19 glorious, wonderful months. It's flown by. I can't believe it's been 19 months already. I can't wait till we celebrate our 24th month, which would be 2 years, right? Thank you, Wes Webb. Thank you so much for the support. Jolie says, what's with Congress getting up to $79 a day food stipend? What the fuck? They can pay for their own food and healthcare. I know they put that in. That's the shit they attach those to the bills. They go, and by the way, we need a raise. All in favor? Aye. By the way, we need a food stipend. Aye. All in favor? Aye. Yeah, they just pass that shit willy-nilly. Don't blink an eyelash. They take their stipend and apparently have no issue with the fact that people on SNAP I think they average $6 a day, and they're feeding a family. Usually it's not or whatever, but they'll take their $79 and have no reservations about that whatsoever. If I was in Congress, I would be the one guy saying no, voting no on all that shit. Elect me as a House representative in Nevada. I'm going to find a district and I'm going to run. Elect me. Vote for me. I will be the one voice saying no. I say we take away the stipend and we give it to the people. Let's give them $79 a day to eat. I get paid $180,000 a year, whatever it is they get. I'm making $15,000 a month. I can pay for my own goddamn food. Let's take that $79 and put it in SNAP so that everyone who's on SNAP can get $79 a day. But how about that? Now, I realize there's a lot more people. There's millions and millions of people on SNAP, and there's only 100 senators, and I guess there's 455 or whatever it is House members. I guess the House members get the same 79 because Congress is both. So, but the sentiment would be that they should get more than $6, and that the Congress people, they don't need it. If you're making $15,000 a month, you do not need a fucking stipend or a per diem, as we used to call it in the other industries I've been in. They don't need it, right? If I think they're making $15,000 a month, I really think they could find it in their budget to be able to fucking eat. out of that 15 grand. So that's what I'm running on. I'm running on no $79 a day per diems for Congress. That's my number one issue. I just came up with it. Now I have something to run on. Now I got to find a district. I need to find a district that's as fucking dumb as MTG's district that would elect some dumbass like me. Because I always figure, man, if MTG and Boebert can fucking get elected to the House, then why the fuck can't I? I just need to find the right district. And I would not run as a Republican, although I thought about running as a Republican and then switching. But there's probably just too much out there of me, saying what I just said or whatever. But I guess I'd have to run as a Democrat or maybe an independent. But find me a district. I'll fucking move to it. If there's a district where I think I could win the U.S. House, I would fucking move to it. I don't care if it's in Wyoming or South Dakota, or even, God forbid, North Dakota, which is even worse than South Dakota, I think. But it is closer to Canada, so it's got that going for it. Find me a fucking district that I could win, and I'll fucking move there. I'll make 15 grand a month, and I will be the lone voice saying, we don't need a fucking 80, I'm going to round it up. We don't need an $80 fucking per diem when we're making 15 grand a month. Talk about affordability issues? There you go. Vote for Trucker John. Vote for Trucker John. God damn it. I'm going to be a one issue. So far, I'm a one issue candidate, and it's going to be the per diem issue. No per diem is going to be my slogan. No per diems for Congress. Petrozzi says Thomas Massey is my congressman. I appreciate what he's doing about the discharge notice and standing up for the victims and the survivors of whatchamacallit, Jeffrey Epstein. I appreciate that very, very much. And that's all I'm going to say about that. That's all I'm going to say. I'm not going to say any more. DBD5844 says, did anyone hear that Starbucks employees are striking in 45 states, which will heavily involve Ohio, New York, Minneapolis, Chicago, and on and on? Yippee to the workers for understanding their worth. I did hear that they're going on strike. I don't know what their demands are. I don't know. I haven't heard what their demands are. So I'm not going to comment too much on that then. Brooklyn SU, I think Nancy decided to leave because of her husband. And it's kind of sad that that's what it took. It took her husband getting his fucking brains bashed in for her to fucking finally quit. She should have quit even before then, probably. I mean, that's pretty sad, Nancy. Fucking Nancy, do a self-evaluation for Christ's sakes. You are fucking the old guard. We need the fucking new guard. And apparently her daughter's going to run. I don't know how old her daughter is, probably in her 40s or 50s at this point, if fucking Nancy's in her 80s. So, but by all accounts, I've heard that her daughter is really a good Democrat. I don't know if she's progressive, but I think she's liberal Democrat. We're going to have to find out more about her. A lot of people are upset because they don't want these dynasties. But I'm willing to take a look at Pelosi's daughter and whoever and all the other candidates that are going to be running for that seat. And if she's the best one, if I feel that she is the best one, then I will endorse her. She'll get the Trucker John endorsement. But it's a little early for that because I don't know who else is running. But right around the corner here in a few months, we're going to start with primary season. And then we'll learn more about the candidates. MJ Daniel says, love that Representative Yasmin Ansari welcomed the Republicans back from their taxpayer-funded vacation. Yeah, I had her in my intro a couple days ago. That was the whole sort of confrontation with, was it Virginia Fox? who was very, very nasty old lady. Joe Branton, no lifetime judges. They need to. Now, I do agree with that, Joe. I do agree with that. And maybe instead of term limits, even for the Senate, maybe there should be age limits. I'm more in favor of age limits than term limits, I think. And then people say you're ageist, but I think I am more in favor of age limits. Like, make 80, maybe make 80 the limit or something. I don't know. Search for You, send a Trucker John gift membership. Thank you, Search for You. Yippee. Going out to Search for You. I appreciate that so much. And look at there, our friend from across the pond, Paul Sharkey Mannion got that one. So thank you, Search for You. And thanks for helping the show. And that does help out the show. And I think Paul Sharkey Mannion will appreciate that. So thank you so much. DPD 584, and they should abolish the split ticket where you have 2 Democrat senators and 1 Nazi representative and vice versa. We will never get anything accomplished. I don't know what you mean by the split ticket. I don't understand your post. Each state gets 2 senators. They don't get 3. So I don't get it. How you get? Are you saying one of the Democrats is a Nazi representative? Oh, representative with the House of Reps, I guess. I still don't get it. You're gonna have to dumb that down for me because I don't get what you're saying. Jolie says, good DPD. Starbucks has a CEO to worker pay ratio of 6,666 to 1. Ridiculous. Okay, so pay is one of the issues. Okay, all right. Westwood, where does all the money come? It comes from your fucking taxes, asshole. You know. Butthole. Comes from our taxes. We're the richest nation in the goddamn earth, in the history of the earth. I think we can afford to pay people more on Snap. Maybe it's not $80 a day, but it sure as fuck should be higher than $6 a day. What if it was $25 a day or $30 a day? I don't know. We'll figure it out. Maybe we can take some of that money away from ICE. All that goddamn fucking, how many hundreds of billions of dollars are we putting into ICE? Put that into fucking helping feed people. I'm just saying. Vote for Trucker John. Vote for me. Christina Sungo Squaw says, listen, if they took that $79 because food should be part of your overall salary and put it into an account for emergency fund when there's a weather disaster, I'd go for that. There's probably lots of places that it could go that would be much more deserved than just into the guts of these senators that make $15,000 a month at least. That's just their salary. That's not including the millions of dollars they make on insider trading and the millions of dollars they make on all the other shit that they do. They go on lecture circuits and they do all this shit and they generate millions and millions of dollars. In fact, let's say I win my district, my imaginary fictional district, and Trucker John wins and I become a House rep. I'm just talking House rep. I'm not even talking about Senate. And let's say I write a book and it becomes a national bestseller and I make millions and millions of dollars off of the book. I would just take my congressional salary and that would all go to donations, some worthy causes. You know, I wouldn't take one dime of that fucking money. I don't know the procedure. Maybe I have to get paid and then I could donate it. I don't know if I could just automatically donate it, but let's say I got in the house and I became a millionaire because I wrote a book and I went on a lecture circuit and I'm lecturing and people love me so much that, they're willing to pay many thousands of dollars or whatever. You know how the scam. And I become this multimillionaire. I'm not taking that fucking $180,000 a year or whatever they get paid. That's all going into fucking homeless, probably into homeless shelters and food banks and shit. It's the least I could do. But yeah, you're right, Christine. I mean, okay, that money can. The point is that $79 per diem could be better spent elsewhere. There are probably a whole laundry list of places where that could be better. That would be better spent elsewhere. David Winter, let's elect John and Ojeda. Yes, me and Ojeda. We would kick ass. Mr. Spock, a few years back, the big city decided to spread liquid human waste on the city grass in one area as a pilot project. It smelled like when the farmer spreads his shit, only it's different than when human. Yeah, that doesn't sound good. Hey, I'm all for sort of like gray water being used to for irrigation. In not not potable, but like some of the gray water stuff. But this doesn't. This sounds like it has more than that. Yeah, liquid human waste. Probably not. Probably not so much into that. Jolie says also no insider trading. Oh well, how do you expect me to make my millions, Jolie? Oh yeah, I'm going to write a book and go on a lecture circuit. But Mrs. Buck, this project was quickly stopped. Well, at least they came to their senses and they stopped it. Jolie, we need members of Congress that are there to serve, not line their pockets. I agree. I do agree with that. Christina Sungo Squad says, I want to run with you just so I can get the regular money a month, not the stipend. I think that you have to look for the place with the lowest amount of people and old. They're not going to vote. I'm on the lookout. Lady Jocka says that's good. The good ones are here to serve. You can tell which ones are lining their pockets. Karen Ames says the vote the Senate put in, they could now sue over their phones getting pinged during the insurrection. That was ridiculous. Yeah, that is totally ridiculous. Totally fucking ridiculous. The thing was, the way I heard it explained is these. I think it only pertains to the senators, and I think all the ones that this happened to, I think it's mainly the Republicans. But it was if their phone, I think it's if their phone records were subpoenaed or something like that, without giving them like prior notice. So in other words, they wanted to have time to, erase everything. That is basically, So yeah, it's totally fucking ridiculous. Petrozzi 1920 says my son has political aspirations. I told him to go up against Massey, but he said he wanted to start at a lower level first, and that's smart. That's smart. I'm older, so I don't have time to start at a lower level. I'm going to go right for U.S. House of Representative. Unless I can get a U.S. Senate seat, our two senators might be on thin ice. Actually, I don't think because they're part of the hated eight. I don't think Nevadans are really mad at that. Actually, I think they don't. So I don't think it's going to hurt them. But I don't know. Karen Ames, no contributions from APAC, and AOC. Talking about AOC, she does not do that. Jörgen Johansson, hey Jörgen, from Sweden, Says politicians that begs for your vote, and when they are elected, they refuse to answer your questions. Fuck them. They're all the same. Well, I don't know if they're all the same, but yeah, fuck those ones. You know. Kemp 4412. Hey, Kemp, I don't know if I've ever seen you before. Thanks for coming on in, hanging out with us. Kemp says Fox is a nasty woman. Oh yeah, Virginia Fox. Yeah, that's what I said. I agree. Kemp says both. I'm not sure exactly what that was in reference to. Both. But anyhow, Fishbone. Hey, Fishbone's here. Says age limits make sense. So we've got some. I'm not sure if I've seen Fishbone before. We got Kemp and Fishbone. Thanks, guys, for coming on in. I hope you like and subscribe, and I hope you'll consider subbing to the show. That would be really awesome. West Webb, as long as the floods don't wash the sludge away, wash that sludge away. DPD5844 says, my husband and dad believe that if Nancy Pelosi was in charge, the Democrats would not have caved. Say what you will about her, but she was very effective in her role. But the thing is, she was at the House of Representatives. The so-called cave took place on the Senate side. But maybe you're right. Maybe Nancy, because Nancy and Chuck Schumer, they worked together a lot. They were in communication with a lot of things. She might have talked Chuck out of it. So you could be right. I still maintain that it was the right thing to do. I mean, maybe they could have held out another week or something, just to try one more week to see if the Republicans would budge. I still don't think that the Republicans were ever going to budge. And in the meantime, like I don't want to keep beating this dead horse, but you guys, I think you know how I feel about it. I think they made the right decision. Maybe they could have waited another week just to see how things went, because I guess what's another week without pay? What's another week without food, So maybe they could have gone, but they couldn't have prolonged this much longer anyhow, I don't think. But so who knows? But Pelosi she's still in Congress. She's not the certainly she's not the speaker, because the Democrats don't have the House. She's not even the leader. Hakeem Jeffries is the Democratic leader. Of course, she's still there. I mean, she could have tried to talk Chuck out of it, but I guess who knows? We could go on and on, I guess, speculating. Fishbone says, I think learning to write the laws and manage them through community is a skill that comes with time, so age limits, not term limits. And then, of course, everyone would be arguing, okay, what age should it be? Should it be 75? Should it be 80? Should it be 85? And then what if if the term limit is 85, and let's say, not talking about judges, but talking about elected seats, like House or Senate. What if you run and you're 84 and you win before you turn 85? I guess you could say, maybe the provision would be like you couldn't run if you're going to turn, let's just say the age limit's 85. So maybe you would write in that law that you couldn't run if you're going to turn 85 during the term or something like that. I guess there's ways of wording it that smart people, unlike me, would figure out how to word it. But then, we'd have to come up with an age. Is it 80? Is it 82? Is it 84? Is it 90? Should it be 67? Like Karen Ames is saying, when people can get their full retirement, I think is 67, right? Should we make the age limits? I think 67 is actually too young to have an age limit for Congress or whatever, but I'm sure there would be all kinds of arguments about that, about what the age should be. And then there would be examples of look at Bernie Sanders. He's 82 and he's sharp as a tack. If we aged him out at 80, we wouldn't have him right now in Congress. But hopefully there would be a Bernie protege or something that would have stepped up or and taken his place, that would have got elected, But who knows? It's an interesting thought there. And then the people who are the proponents of term limits would just say, well, we wouldn't even have that conversation because it would just be term limits. You get 2 terms and that's it, boom, or 3 terms or whatever it would be. How many terms would, and that's I guess that would be another thing. How many terms? Like for Senate, you just get 2. Is it just 1 or 2? Those are 12-year terms. So is 2 enough? Just 2? For House, how many? We're going to term limit House. Is it just those are every 2 years? So should we? Are we going to say 1? Are we going to say 3? Are we going to say 5? I mean, But those are the things that get worked out if these things were ever to be brought up for a vote. You would hammer all that out. Fishbone says no more corporate owned candidates. I agree, but we've been trying to get campaign finance reform passed for as long as I can fucking remember. And the Democrats will always kill it. If they've got the ability to kill it, they'll kill it. And the occasional assholes like a Joe Manchin or a Kirsten Sinema will help kill it. But campaign finance reform has been part of most of the Democrats' platforms for as long as I can remember. We absolutely need campaign finance reform. We absolutely need to overturn Citizens United. But we got to stop electing Republicans, and we got to get more Democrats on board with it. And we can step up the pressure by continuing to flood offices with phone calls and postcards on those subjects. Those things really do, I think, make a difference. Wow, guys, I'm over 2 hours already. Probably should be ending the show pretty soon. Nick Rich 420. So I'm what am I? What time was that? 420? I'm 12 minutes behind you, Nick Rich. I'm 12 minutes behind you, Nick Rich. I'll be catching up soon, I think. Christina and Son Ghost Squad says, my lovelies, I have to head out, but you all have the happiest of weekends, and I'll see you somewhere on the tubes. Absolutely. We will see you in the chat rooms, and we'll see you on your channel. Christina has a channel, and she does shows. I know Thursday nights she does a show. I think she does other shows. So check out Christina and Son Ghost Squad. Very, very, very happy, like a happy show. She does games. There's tarot reading. There's ghost stories. It's a very fun channel. So check out Christina and Son Ghost Squad at your earliest convenience. Just go check it out, and you can find out all the time. So she's right here on YouTube. Christina and Son Ghost Squad. Go check her out. D5844 says, here in Ohio, TJ, we have 2 senators that are Republicans because Sherrod Brown lost the election. We have Greg Landsman, a Democrat congresswoman. Wait, her name's Greg? Right there, that's a red flag. No, I'm just kidding. Anyhow, Greg, and the last name is Landsman. Anyhow, a Dem congresswoman and pedophile Jim Jordan. It's impossible to get anything done. So yeah, the voters, I guess, the voters needed to vote better. And Sherrod Brown has been a really good, I think has been a really good senator over the years. Yeah, but so I don't know about his campaign. I think I remember, weren't there some complaints about the campaign? I don't know, but But yeah, the voters needed to do a better job and keep Sherrod Brown at least. And I don't know about Greg Landsman, but I do know about Jim Jordan, and they should definitely do a better job with that dude. I'm not sure if I would call Jim Jordan a pedophile. I don't know if he is attracted to children sexually. I really don't know. What I do know is that he is willing to look the other way when someone is sexually assaulting what I presume to be minors. I'm trying to think of the story. I guess Jim Jordan, I forget if this was when he was a college wrestler or if he was a coach. And if it's college, there is a good chance that those victims, I'm going to say victims. I don't know why we're splitting hairs between victims and survivors. But anyhow, I'm going to say victims or whatever of this one doctor that would do medical, doing physicals with the wrestlers. There's a good chance, since if this was college, that they were over 18. So at that point, I wouldn't call that pedophilia, but I would certainly call that some sort of molestation or sexual assault was going on, and Jim Jordan knew about it and did nothing about it. And even as a congressperson, he's had opportunities to address these type of situations, and he does nothing about it. That's why we call him things like, Jim Jordan with a spelled GYM, because he's in the gym a lot instead of, and things that were going on maybe metaphorically or in a gym. I think these things were actually going on in the examination rooms, maybe adjacent to the gym or adjacent to the locker rooms at these colleges. But he saw it and did nothing. A lot like Joe Paterno in Ohio State found out about, I don't think Joe ever saw anything, but Joe Paterno heard about it and really did nothing. As far as, I think maybe he fired, it was Sandusky. I remember talking about this earlier in the week. Sandusky was up there, and he was a pedophile. He was raping, boys in the showers at Penn State. Did I say Ohio State? It was Penn State, right? Or Penn State for Paterno. All apologies to all the Ohio State Buckeyes out there. Penn State, Nittany Lions. Joe Paterno, I guess, heard about it, and then there were other coaches there, at least one, who actually saw it happening. And he's the one that, instead of calling the cops, or at least, and this dude was a big dude who saw it happening. If I saw it happening, I would have ran into the shower. I would have grabbed Sandusky by the fucking neck, and I would have slammed him down into the fucking shower floor. And then I would have jumped on him and I would have pummeled his face until there was nothing left of his face. That's just me. But this dude, this coach, Penn State coach, I think he was a quarterback coach or something, he just went running to Joe Paterno and he told Joe what was going on. And Joe was like, oh, God, he was like, oh, that's awful or whatever. And I think he ended up firing Sandusky because Sandusky was part of the coaching staff or something. I think they just fired him. They should have fucking tied him up and delivered him first class to the fucking local police department. Anyhow, I'm off on a tangent. Jim Jordan, again, I don't know if he's a pedophile, but I do know that he is someone who apparently is okay with his, what I believe were teammates, unless he was a coach at that time, either his teammates or his athletes. He's okay with them being molested by a doctor. And for that, Jim Jordan should be nowhere near the halls of Congress. Ohio. I guess that's where I got Ohio State mixed up. But Jim Jordan should be nowhere near the halls of Congress. Oh, so Ohio, you need to do a better job. If you're electing Nazis over a good man like Sherrod Brown, and you're electing what may or may not be a pedophile, but certainly someone who is very weak, a very weak person like Jim Jordan, who allows sexual assault to take place and does nothing about it. Ohio, you need to do a better job. And I don't mean to pick on Ohio, because there's lots of places across this country that need to do better jobs. Texas and Florida, talking to you too. Anyhow, while I've probably completely alienated everyone with my comments, Brooklyn says Psycho Trump is claiming he's got a better body than Obama. I guess he still thinks he's running against him. Yeah, number one, that's a crazy thing. Yeah, Obama, why does he keep bringing up Obama? And number two, we've seen the photos. We've seen the shirtless photos of Obama. And even Obama, who's now in his 60s, I'm sure has a much better body than fucking dumpy Trump, who has a body. I have a body like Trump, probably. So I can attest to the fact that Obama's body is much better, in better shape. Obama, it's not even close. Unless Trump actually thinks that he is like one of those AI chat GPT photos or things that they're making of Trump, unless he really thinks that he has Rambo's body, Wes Webb, I'm not running for nothing. Oh, I'm not running for nothing. Good. Spare us. Please, yeah. Spare the people of Illinois that. Brooklyn's, TJ, you would run with Hal. I would run with Hal, sure. All right, I'm skipping down, guys. We have to finish this show up because we are approaching the end, my friends. This is the end. Oh, you know what? I thought I had another. Didn't I have another? Oh, well, I don't know why I saved this. This is like here's my little Snapchat guy. There's me with my emoji. In my Dodger gear. Go Dodgers. So there's that. But just want to thank you guys very much. Thank you so much for being here. If you would consider subscribing, I would appreciate that. We're getting close to, getting very close to 4,200. So please do that. Anybody else want to come in? Anybody else? Yeah. Let me just scroll down. I'll do the scrolling for you, Trucker John. I know that you need a little break. Let me read some of the chats. I don't really get to read the chats all that often, so let's read this one here. David Windler says, the Northeast Nevada District, John, do a tour with a band and you will be in Congress. Northeast. Interesting. Thanks, David Windler, for that suggestion for Trucker John. The problem is Trucker John has no talent. But, maybe he can fake it. I don't know. Jill Brand says, nice hanging out. Hey, nice hanging out with you, Jill. Thanks for being here. I do appreciate you. It's funny how I use a lot of the same nomenclature as Trucker John, don't I? You hang around with someone long enough and they kind of rub off on you, Brooklyn says Bernie seems very sharp. He's a sharp old dude, isn't he? Sharp as a tack. Sharp as a heart attack. Brooklyn says Joe Biden served well his whole life. Yes, Joe Biden did excellent. He should be the president right now, but didn't work out. Jolie's got the link to Christina and Sun Goes Squad. Thanks, Jolie, for doing that. You guys can check that out. Tell me old Tough Cookie sent you. Tell her Tough Cookie sent you. Go check out Christina and Sun Goes Squad. Give her a like, a subscribe. Check out the shows. Even old Tough Cookie finds himself enjoying the Christina Sun Goes Squad channel. Even if Tough Cookie can enjoy it, then you guys can enjoy it for sure. DPD. The correction, we have a correction coming in. I meant Congressman TJ Landsman. Whew, because I know Trucker John and I, and even Paul, we were kind of like going, wait a minute, I'm all for, all kinds of rights and things, but the whole Greg thing that threw us all for a loop, a little loopy loop, but thanks for clearing that up. Bottom line is, apparently Landsman is a Nazi. Is that the Nazi one? We don't want Nazis. Or was that the Dema? Was that the Dim? I'm confused. There's a Nazi in there somewhere. There's a Nazi in this soup. Maybe it was probably one of the Republican senators was the Nazi. I think Landsman was the Democrat. And I apologize for making everything 100 times more confusing than it needed to be. I do apologize. Jorgen Johansson from Sweden says Jim Jordan fucks anyone from behind, male or female, adult or kid. Allegedly, let's put the allegedly in there so we don't all get sued. I know over in Sweden you guys can say whatever you want, but over here we got to be careful of lawsuits. So allegedly, folks, that was alleged. Wes Webb says Ohio State was Jimmy Jordan's school. We call them universities where I'm from, but whatever. DPD says Jordan has no issues protecting sexual predators. There's only one reason why he would choose to continue protecting this individual's unless he was dirty himself. All right. I'm not going to argue with a fellow truckler when we're all on the same side here. We both agree that Jim Jordan is a filthy piece of shit and has no fucking business whatsoever to steal a term from Trucker John to roam the halls of Congress. So yeah, I'm agreeing with you. I've appeared to picked up a bit of a cough. Jolie says, just got home from a 2-mile walk and I'm sweating my ass off in the middle of November in Indiana. But climate change isn't real. Read that in Big Hook's MAGA voice. And for that, I don't think I can do the voice. Let's see. I think it's something like, I know I've listened to Big Hook before. I'm trying to remember how it goes, like something like, oh, but climate change isn't real. Something like that. Something like that. A little something like that. We need Big Hook to come in here and do that. If I could do that. Jolie says, go Dodgers. I guess because of the Trucker John's emoji. Probably. DPD 5844 says, I forgot the district, but there was a guy running for the school board who had served time in prison for sexual assaulting his own daughter, and he was elected. Tisk, tisk, tisk. Come on, Ohio. What the fuck, Ohio? You're killing me here, Ohio. Come on. You can do better than that, Ohio. You can do better. All right. I got to go get some cough syrup or something. I'll talk to you guys later. All right, I guess I'll pop in. I'll take over the chat reading duties. This is fun. I know I almost never do this, so it's kind of fun. Wes Webb says, then I stopped listening to Johnny. Is that a reference to Johnny Carson? He's been dead for a while, so yeah, I don't think we don't really listen to him very much. Nick Rich says, thanks, John. You're welcome. I'll pass that on to Tough Cookie. Jorgen Johansson from Sweden says, TJ, beauty comes from inside, what you have between your ears and in your heart, not how fit you look. Well, thank you. I'll pass that on to Trucker John. I'm much more svelte than Trucker John, by the way. We just share hats and clothes. West Webb says, Jorgen, don't you still want the people you love to be healthy? Wes Webb really on a health kick today, but good for you, Wes Webb. Good for you on the health kick. We could all probably use a little bit better health. DPD 5844 says, great show, TJ. Hey, DPD 5844 says, great show, Trucker John. I just was letting them know. Everyone enjoy the rest of your evening, and we can stay safe out there. Stay safe. Peace out there. Thank you, DPD. Always good to see you. Thanks for being with us. Hey, Tough Cookie. Joey says your impression of Big Hook's MAGA. Let me see. Let me quote this. Was perfect. Oh, you should see Tough Cookie. He's actually blushing over there. You actually got Tough Cookie to blush, Jolie. That's a hard thing to do. So there you go. Jorgen Hansen, West Webb, of course I want that. Speaking about being healthy. I don't understand what you mean with that. Well, Jorgen, let me let you in on a little secret. No one understands West Webb. Okay, you're not alone. You're not alone in that. All right. We all come away with the same shaking our head type of thing. Okay, guys. So, but thanks for being here. Thank you guys so much. Thank you so much for being here, guys. Make sure hit that subscribe if you haven't. If you feel so inclined, and drag. I don't care if you have to, drag and people screaming and crying. Get them in here to the Trucker John Show, and get them to hit that subscribe button. Every time you do that, a butterfly turns into a cocoon or something. I don't know something snappy like that. All right, guys, that's it for today. I'm gonna go ahead. I think I can do the honors. I think I can do the thing with the words of wisdom. Trucker John has bestowed that upon me today to do today's words of wisdom. All right, guys, are you guys ready? You got your pens and your papers ready? All right. It's not timed. This is not a time thing. You can write. You can take as long as you want to write it down, but just be ready. Oh, Brooklyn SJU, thank you so much. We got a 99 super sticker from Brooklyn. Oh, Trucker John, he said, I can do the yippee. So, yippee. Yippee to Brooklyn. Thank you so much. I do appreciate you. We all do here at the Trucker John Studios. Nick Trish says, yippee, Trixie LaRue, as Brooklyn is otherwise known as. Yeah, thank you so much. I appreciate you. All right, you guys, get your pens and paper out. We're going to write this down. I have today's words of wisdom, okay? Maybe I can do a better job. I understand some people are saying that there's some sort of audio issue or something that happens. Trucker John is kind of clumsy and he's not a real tech guy. So maybe this will go through a little bit better with me doing it. Okay. So you ready? Here we go. For today's words of wisdom, they go.
Well, it's time to say goodbye. The show has come to an end. But don't be sad, no, don't you cry. We're all gonna come back and meet again. Have some fun times, hopefully nothing too bad. We might talk about war crimes. Might talk about Baghdad. I doubt we'll talk about door chimes. But if we did, I'd be only too glad. So hasta la vista, baby. The show is over, but could I ask you I couldn't think of anything to rhyme with over. Now my whole rhyming scheme is all screwed up. Oh shit, I should have stuck to truck driving, who I tried to kid. At least when I was out there driving, I could handle a skid. But doing this live stream, baby, has been a real kid. So I hope to see y'all again right here on the Trucker John Livestream. We're gonna do it again and again, right here in the Trucker John Livestream. Yeah, the Trucker John Livestream, we're gonna come back and do it all again. No, this ain't no dream, this is where we win, right here on the Trucker John Livestream. No, this time to say goodbye, the show is coming in. Don't be sad, no, don't you cry. We're all gonna come back and meet again.
Rolling down the highway in my rusty old rig. I'm a retired trucker, but my spirit's still big. Living in Vegas, where the lights never sleep. Broadcasting my thoughts for the world to keep. From politics to pop culture, I've got it all. Sharing my views, no matter how big or small. Talking about food and movies and bugs, shining a light on all the social issues. No shrugs, I've driven through the desert, seen the city so bright. But now I'm living in a different kind of fight. From my apartment in Las Vegas, I hold the key, exploring the world through my live stream for free. In my apartment in Las Vegas, I hold the key, exploring the world through my live stream for free. So you want to take a trip down Paradise Road, but it ain't that pretty, it ain't paved with gold. Everybody's got the dirty little secrets, everybody's got some things unknown. But if you ain't real careful, baby, it'll cut you down to the bone. Under all those bright lights, you've gotta learn to ignore the glitter. It's all about fight or flight, and you don't wanna do either. So go on down to Paradise Road, it'll make you wish that you were young. But all it'll do is make you feel old and regret trading in your love for lust. It's all just a big charade, it's all just one big game, and it ain't about love. It's all about the thrills, it's about staying in the hunt, it's about going in for the kill. So head on down to Paradise Road, that's where your friends are now. They're the people that nobody knows. So go ahead and make your big show. So live it up on Paradise Road. Just don't let anyone know. It'll be your dirty little secret. It'll be your guilty little pleasure. Living a secret that the whole world sees, hiding in plain sight among the scum and the thieves. So damn hard to ever be pleased. Everyone wants to live the good life. Everybody wants a piece of paradise. But where would you run? Where would you hide? What would you do to buy a little more time? Grandiose dreams of happily ever after are really just another day's end. And when the sun goes down, you just lay there wondering, can you really do it all again? You're praying for one last shot. You're hoping for one last big win. Paradise Road is calling, so you better hurry along. Paradise Road is calling, so you better hurry along.
Show's over. I'm out of here, folks. Bye. See you later.
Yes! 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 Woo! The Dodgers won! The Dodgers won! Yes! Yes! Woo-hoo-hoo! Dodgers won the World Series! Woo! Yeah! Yeah! Yeah, Clayton, yeah! Woo-hoo-hoo! Oh my God! Oh my God, that was the most amazing World Series ever. Dodgers!